Some people believe that knitting is only a hobby for old people. This is not necessarily true. Knitting can be a hobby for old people as well as young people. In this instructional video, I'm going to be teaching you the basics of knitting. The first thing you need to learn is how to hold the needles and yarn. The picture you see is called the American style. This is when you hold the needles close together at their tips. You use your dominant hand to control the yarn. You will be incorporating this style throughout the video. Before you can cast on, you need to learn how to make a slip knot. First, you make a circle or hole with your right side from the yarn. Then you take the right side of the yarn, insert it into the circle, and pull on the left side of your yarn. Then you take your needle and insert it into the hole. After that, you pull on the right end of the yarn. Casting on is an essential part of the knitting process. In this video, the long tail cast will be used. First, place your hand in between the two tails of the yarn and grasp the ends of the yarns with your two free fingers. Put the needle behind then into the left hole. Then bring your needle behind then into the right hole. Then go in straight into the left hole. Then release your thumb from the yarn and pull down on both tails of the yarn. Repeat these steps 2 to 6 times, or until you feel comfortable casting on. Here are more examples if needed. There are 2 stitches that you absolutely need to know for the knitting process. The knit stitch is one of them. First, you put the needle through the back of the stitch. Then you wrap your yarn around the needle clockwise. Pull the right needle through to the front. Then simply slide the right needle off to the right. Repeat this step until you have finished a round of knitting and you are comfortable. Here are more examples if needed. The purl stitch is the second stitch that you absolutely need to know for the knitting process. Some people find this stitch very hard, but in reality it is as simple as the knit stitch. First, you put the needle through the stitch to the front of the work. Then you wrap the yarn around that needle counterclockwise. Then push the right needle through to the back. Then slide the needle with the new stitch off. Just like the knit stitch, repeat these steps until you have finished a round and you are comfortable with the stitch. Here are more examples if needed. Binding off is one of the last things you do in a knitting project. It is important to know how to bind off when knitting. First, you knit 2 stitches. Put your needle through the front of the first stitch you knitted. Lift the stitch your needle is in over the other stitch and needle, and remove your left needle from that stitch. Knit another stitch and repeat these steps until there is 1 stitch left on the right needle. After there is 1 stitch left, cut the yarn leaving a 6 to 8 inch long tail. Insert the tail through the last stitch after taking the needle off of that stitch and pull to tighten. After completing these steps, you are done with the basics of your project. This is the fundamentals of knitting.